you're my life.
In the summer of 1977, my primary hangout was the Lindenhurst Youth Center. We had our core group. It was me, Louie, Frankie, Marty, Stan, and the girls that hung out with us, Annette, Denise, Janine, Diane, and sometimes Teresa. Now, that was the core group, and we kind of ran the youth center. I mean, it had its director and its assistant director, Jim McGowan and Naomi, and Jim's sister, Bonnie, was a counselor, but we were unchecked. We ran the place, and we were very protective of the youth center because it was like our clubhouse. We had people that were on the periphery of the core group. Some guys that I like to refer to now as the nickname gang, because to this day I don't know what their real names are. We had Mooney, we had Smiley, we had Big Blue, Dead Fish. These were guys that kind of came and went. And then there was Jack. Now I'll get a little more into Jack as this video goes on. But let's talk about Denise. Denise was kind of my girlfriend. We were hanging out. No real physical contact other than kissing now and again. And I think I might have gotten to second base once. But it was pretty much really a good friendship. But everybody else looked at it as she was my girlfriend. Now Denise would talk to me and not really to anybody else. And Denise had a very, very bad home life. Her mother had remarried and her stepfather was abusive. Not SA, but physically abusive to both her and her mother. So Denise would take any opportunity she could to get out of that house and be at the youth center. So me, the core group, Denise, most of the girls were regulars. If the doors were open, we were there. And then this guy Jack kind of just wandered into our circle. Looking back, I kind of think of him as a drifter. He drifted into our lives, and he never really came into the youth center. And there were a couple of guys like that. Big Blue, that guy I mentioned earlier, who is going to eventually have his own video. Big Joe Jufrey and his brother Marty, and Jack used to hang out outside of the youth center. There was a really, really big driveway next to the youth center, and they would pull in there. They all had cars, and I was the only other one that had a car. We'd go outside and hang out with them for a little bit and come back in. And when Jack drifted into our periphery, Denise immediately took notice of him. And apparently it was love at first sight. So Denise and I broke up. Now, Denise was just about to turn 15. As a matter of fact, as this story progresses, she will have turned 15. I was 16. She started hanging out outside with Jack. She and I guess you could say we broke up, although we really were never officially boyfriend-girlfriend. And besides, I wanted to go after Janine, which is an entirely another story. Now, as I said, Denise was a regular, in there if the doors were open. Well, suddenly Denise stopped showing up, and that concerned me. However, a few days later, what did show up were the police, and they wanted to talk to me and to Louie. I don't know why Louie, but they also thought that she was my girlfriend. So they interviewed us. And it turns out that she had disappeared. She had been there one night, gone to bed, and when they woke up the next morning, her parents did not find her in her bed. She was gone. Louie, as it turned out, they wanted to talk to because they had heard from wherever that he knew where Jack was from. Well, yeah, it was true. Louis knew, or thought he knew anyway, that Jack had said to him one day that he was from Missouri. Louis gave them that information. I gave them the information that Denise had given me about her home life, and really couldn't add anything about Jack because I didn't know anything about Jack. But we came to find out that Jack was 25 years old. So he was in line for statutory rape, endangering the welfare of a minor, various other charges, and then the FBI showed up. They wanted to talk to me because apparently they'd also heard the rumor that she was my girlfriend. Very brief interview. It was maybe 10 minutes in which I shared with them the same things I'd shared with the police. I knew nothing else. Now, you know what? A little side note here. If that were to happen today, they would not have been able to interview me at all because they would have had to contact my parents. I was a minor. I was 16 years old. Apparently, the laws were a little more flexible then. They interviewed me in Jim McGowan's office with Jim McGowan present, so I guess that was substituted for an adult in my life. But back to Jack and Denise. It wasn't long after that they found Jack in a motel in Kansas City, Missouri with Denise. They brought Jack back to New York, and he was tried and convicted on all charges. I have no idea what happened to him after that. Denise, they took back to her home, and she never came back to the youth center. We did find out that she had been taken from the home by CPS and put into foster care. Apparently, her parents were drug addicts. What happened to Denise after that? I have no idea. If by some miracle she sees this video, I hope you remember me. I'm Felix. And I'd love for you to reach out because I'd just like to know that you're okay. Till next time, I'm Felix Gomes, and this is the story of my life.